Hey y'all, it is your favorite nerdy girl here, Nerdygirlreviews, and we're back with another recap for Moon Knight, episode 5. Currently streaming on Disney Plus. If you'd like to see and hear the full commentary, keep me locked here on YouTube. If you're watching this on Instagram, click the link in bio. If you're watching this on IG Stories, click on the link. It'll link you back to my YouTube channel. I'm also available on TikTok under Nerdygirlreviews. And if you'd like to see and hear more of my commentary, you can find me on sofitoforyoursoul.com. Let's get into it, y'all. And this Moon Knight mask. Yes. Also, caution, if you're going to do this mask, just get all the materials in white. I'll explain in a minute. Stay tuned. And we're back, y'all. Yes, we're going to keep it very plain Jane because, again, I'm trying to do my best Oscar Isaac, Mark Spector, no makeup. And also because I do not want to get it on my very nice looking mask. Also, like I mentioned in the intro, I'm very proud of this mask. Don't get me wrong. Just the fact that I got the lights to work and I used this foam. But I left a message in my last review in the description box. Please, if you're going to do this mask, just get the materials in white. Don't spray paint this. It's not really advisable health-wise. If you are going to spray paint anything on a mask, let it air out because I was so excited about wearing it and I had like double spray painted. It was a little on the toxic side. So again, just as a caution, if you are an adult and you are doing this mask, again, I can link it again in the description box. Just be mindful. Certain paints can be toxic and let it air out. If you're building this mask for your child, again, just get the materials in white. That way you don't have to spray paint anything. Just get the mask from Party City in matte whites. They do exist, or just order it on Amazon. And the foam too. You can get it in any craft store, teaching supply store, catalog, or whatnot. Again, just wanted to make that sure, just so y'all know, because you don't want to do the same mistakes I've done. And we're going to put our very cute mask away so we can get into this review. And we are listening to Manuel Bonilla, Más Allá del Sol, which is the song that plays so beautifully at the end of the credits of episode 5, which is titled Asylum. Now, I would have waited until, because we're only one episode shy, but I just felt the need to review this because just the fact that they wanted to make an emphasis on putting this very Christian-based Spanish song with no lyrics translation. I mean, I'm sure people were especially the avid MCU fans were like, what does that mean? And looking it up. But again, kudos to the production team, to Disney. I don't know if this was an insistence from Oscar Isaac himself, but again, the representation is just so plentiful in this series. And you see a multitude of ethnicities, and they're not playing the other. For heaven's sake, they're playing the lead, and bravo! This is how you do it. Again, I can't stress that enough. And yes, if I do look a little clinical, it's because our main character of Mark Spector has fallen into some insane asylum, and hence the name. But from what we gathered, that even though so from what we can gather from last episode, our leading character, has been shot, and we are too. And here's the thing, because in episode 4 we were kind of left on oh, is he really having some kind of episode, and he really is in some mental institution, and everything that we're seeing is just a falsehood. But it is explained to us with the introduction of our beautiful hippo. She's adorable. I love her. I loved all the details that went into her outfit. She is the goddess of families and women, in particular, Towerette. And she's also played by, I believe, a newcomer. Um, and this is her first like acting gig, but she does a really wonderful job. Antonia Salib, she's so cute. Her voice is so cute. Like I was just like, oh my god, I want her to be my friend. Like it was just so, her voice is so warm and inviting, really cute. I really enjoyed it. Now, moving forward, we are led to believe, because Mark is talking to our Harrow, who was our villainous character, but he is doing an incredible job, but played by Ethan Hawke. Arthur Harrow is doing an incredible job as if he was like a real therapist. And tell me, side note, isn't this giving you some like major Gattaca? Remember the film Gattaca that Ethan Hawke was in that film? Because of the whole clinical perspective of it, is giving me very Gattaca. Gattaca meets the mummy, so cute. And his, him being the doctor and putting on the spectacles and speaking to Mark in a very, clinical way, making it seem as if because of a traumatic experience, to kind of make sense or reason or think logistically of what has happened in the last episode or the last few hours in Mark's life, that he has kind of built something in his brain so that way he feels some form of comfort. And even the goddess Taweret is like, I've never, I'm also the goddess that kind of like serves as a guidance, as a source of, okay, we're going to lead up to your afterlife. And it's never been in this kind of situation of an asylum, but hey, and she's so cute. She's so quirky, going through her notes of like trying to, calm the situation. The thing is that though, and kind of like Mark, no, not Mark, Arthur is able to decipher, for some reason it's led to believe in Egyptian mythology, they weigh your heart with a feather, and if it's unbalanced, you're just doomed to spend the rest of eternity, your soul is in Durat, which honestly it seems like a desert like purgatory, but again, I don't know, but that's what I'm kind of like led to believe. And if your soul is balanced, or the scales are balanced, your heart meets the feather and it's not unbalanced, your soul is led to the field of reeds, which again, another side note, isn't it reminiscent of Gladiator? Remember Russell Crowe? And at the end when he, like, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the Gladiator, he passes away, but because the soul was deemed worthy, they are to reach greater pastures in a way, in a beautiful fields, so they can be at peace and enjoy their afterlife in a peaceful, harmonious space. So, but because at the very beginning of the episode is so unbalanced, and that the fact that also our goddess Taweret is able to snatch both hearts, just kind of tells you how things have kind of severed off. They're no longer one. They're literally two entities, Mark and Stephen Grant. That was his alter ego, I want to say. So we go through the facets of Mark's past, and then unfortunately we are met with why Stephen came to be. Stephen was a creation of Mark. Mark went through a traumatic experience where he suffered loss and has felt incredible guilt because he feels it was his fault. He leads his brother into one of these flood caves, which again, this is supposed to be Chicago though, and a lot of people have questions like, when has there been a flood cave in like Chicago? But I guess again, we're going with the story regardless of those details. But it gave you very reminiscent feels of It, right? Like those kind of caves, though, that kind of flooding. And because his brother was supposed to look after him, because you get a very kind of like family-oriented barbecue, and he entices his younger brother, like, let's go check this out and whatever. And his mom told him specifically, look after him. But yes, in a way, unfortunately, children are children, and they happen to be in this flood cave, and his younger brother, Robo, passes. He dies and drowns. And his mother can't deal with the loss and the grief, and then basically tortures him until his adult life. She becomes an alcoholic, and there are instances of trauma of why then his safety space, Mark's safety space, becomes Steven. Steven was influenced by a movie very much like Indiana Jones or Raiders of the Lost Ark, something like that along those lines. And he even put on the accent of the actor in the film. And it's heartbreaking. It really is hard to watch. And thankfully, they do not show the abuse. You just kind of hear it. But again, sometimes imagination. It was a very hard scene to watch. And he ultimately leaves home, Mark, and only comes back when he finds out that his mother has passed. And then this is where we find out that he is Jewish, because it's a Shiva. And again, who's to say? This is what I've also have said, because again, I think his ethnicity is still very much ambiguous in the story, in the storyline of Moon Knight. So he could be technically could still be Latino. The children look very Latino, so they're very olive tone, and so is he. His mother too was playing his mother. She also seemed very Latina, but I think she's Brazilian. Nonetheless, that's why I say multi-ethnic cast, cast and crew, director, fabulous. And we know that he's Jewish because he has the yarmulke. But he has a semi-nervous breakdown because he can't face the fact that he had lost his mother. So as he's having a breakdown in this particular street, which Steven, again, because we're going through several hallways and several rooms where Mark has compartmentalized all of his trauma, and Steven asked him about it. He was very inquisitive. I need to know what's going on. We need to reveal these things to each other so we can balance the scales and lead to greener pastures. But Mark is very resistant at first. But then we see the breakdown of it, and then we also see why also Steven is led to believe that his mother is still alive. And that's why he keeps calling. But I think he keeps calling as a voicemail. He never gets her on the phone. And we see the connection between episode 5 and episode 1. Certain instances, the fish was a drawing that his brother was working on. Latas Gatas is how his mother would say that. Oh, he would say that, and she would answer with something crocodile. But it was a family-oriented thing. And then here's where we see the breakdown, and we see why Mark created Steven. Steven comes to that culmination of, I thought I was the original. It turns out I'm the copy. But also interesting too, because like, how is it? Again, this goes into more specific inquisition of like, how does necessarily DID works. I think it's called dissociative disorder. And how a whole personality can develop based on trauma. I mean, because you have to think like, wow, he had like a whole, like, there's a whole backstory to Steven. So no wonder Steven was led to believe that he was the original. I mean, he's thoughtful, he's creative, he's intelligent, he knows a lot about the history of Egyptian mythology. He knew how to crack certain maps that were not privy to Mark. Amazing. And also we see why his trauma led him to his adult life that was very violent as well. He was in the army, but then eventually went AWOL and couldn't really necessarily get his footing after that. So he ended up becoming a mercenary, and unfortunately committed a lot of violent acts. And his partner again beat him to a bloody pulp. He almost died and was led I think it was another tomb that they were about to raid, and this is the introduction to Khonshu, the god of the moon god. But also there were instances too, like I think he's probably the I think the we as the audience are led to believe that perhaps Khonshu had been there from the very beginning, because we see a young Mark with his brother just about to go through that whole floodgate and trauma. There were bones that looked very much like Khonshu, which are that bird-like skeletal kind of appearance. So who knows? Maybe Khonshu had been watching over Mark since forever, and used that opportunity that he was near death to get him to be his avatar. And then Stephen kind of makes it known, like, could Khonshu have been taking advantage of you since the very beginning to get you to do his dirty work? Anyway, again, we still don't know. A lot of the information that we get are still very up in the air. Friend or foe, friend or foe. But then, as we are seeing that our villainous character of Ethan Hawke, Arthur Harrow, is committing all types of crimes against humanity. Souls are dropping into this afterlife, which, not for nothing, also, side note, there is instances, I believe people have made, other YouTubers have made a reference that this could be a connection to Black Panther, because the afterlife, right there, the instances of the purple tones too. I don't know if people caught that too. I mean, there's another element, which I can't remember the exact name, that they use in Black Panther, they used for this episode, which ties these two films together, or these two works of production together. But it's interesting, if they do tie it to Black Panther, that would be amazing. Because if that turns into a film, I am buying a ticket. Because that was amazing. And then, so once they reveal that information to each other, they're almost towards the end, and the scales are still unbalanced. Looks like Mark could lose his footing and could spend the rest of eternity in what seems to be like a sandy purgatory. Stephen helps him out, fights off all of these zombies that, are trying to claim Mark's soul. He comes through for him, defends him, but unfortunately he loses his footing and drops into the sand, and he gets stuck in Durat, which is that sandy part of the purgatory. And it's unfortunate, because it's like, oh my god, we've grown to love so much of Steven that we didn't want to see his character die off like that. He literally turns into sand, looked like something very biblical. And as Mark loses Steven, the scales balance, and we straight foot into the field of reeds, and then we have that song playing in the background, which, again, coincides perfectly with the episode, the ending of episode 5, Más Allá del Sol, by Manuel Bonilla, which is, again, very Christian. But it tells you, like, all these faiths are intertwined. Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism. It's a great show, honestly. Now, moving forward, though, I'm curious, because, again, Stephen was never real. So is he really gone? Will we have the possibility, if there's more episodes of Moon Knight or second season, will we see that? And I'm praying, please bring this show back. And will we see the third personality, which has been rumored that there could be a third personality looming, of Jake Lockley, I think is how you pronounce his name. So just kind of like more of a boxer, cab driver kind of personality we have yet to meet. But we fell in love with Steven, and Steven was so adorable and vulnerable and so bumbly but adorable. And the accent was just made it, was the cherry on top. So again, I'm very excited to see how this season will end, and praying that they greenlight a second season, because it's so deserving. It really is. And we need to see more of these characters, and we need to see more representation. So please bring back this show, Disney Plus. Anywho, with that, I leave you, and stay tuned, because I have a few other reviews coming on its way. Definitely Atlanta, the last 4 episodes. Let's get into that. And Ozark. was, oh, anyway, I don't want to spoil it, but it was so, and I'm waiting for more people to watch it. So again, please stay tuned for that. Anyway, if you like what you see, give us a like, leave us a comment down below. If you'd like to follow my reviews and my DIYs and hauls, please click on the subscription button and the notification button so you can be alerted of my next review, DIY, and all things creative, all things nerdy. Stay tuned for that, y'all. Until next time, XOXO. Nerdy Girl. This is so cute. It really has a nice tone. I'm proud of this mask. Hold on a sec. I keep showcasing it, but again, just get the materials in white. That's all I'll say. Alright, y'all. XOXO. Nerdy Girl.